one of the things that people want today is, you notice that I put out grapes, which aren't necessarily local, but they're always delicious and people can snack on them, and cherries, and local fruits when they're in the season. I just put them in a bowl, and for the cherries, I put a little bowl for the pits. You'd be surprised how many people would like to snack on those and feel better at the end of it. So I think that's one of the things.
Let your party be ingredient driven, but that doesn't mean it has to be, it has to be a finished ingredient. A strawberry is an ingredient. Put a bowl of strawberries out. Like Francis said, put a bowl of cherries out. That's an ingredient driven party without necessarily all the fuss and all the muss that necessarily has to go into some of these things. A cherry is perfect food.
But it's a matter of going to the green market, seeing what's delicious, and making that part of your dinner. But you don't need to be slavish. Like, you're not Noma. You're not the restaurant in the world that has to source everything within 100 feet of your house, right? You should use the stuff that's awesome within 100 feet of your house, or within your state, or within your region. But look, if you want to have Australian truffles and you got them in, throw them into the mix with your local corn. And I'm all about planning. And I think planning for a party is great, and I think checklists for setting up are great. But once that party begins, if you planned on 9 different cool things happening, or 4 different cool things happening, and making 3 great things and they don't work out, that's okay. It doesn't matter. The people are there to see you and enjoy you, and you're there to enjoy them and make sure those things happen. Here's the thing. If your guests ever are not happy, promise them a full refund. Right? Because they didn't pay a thing, and that's very different than in a restaurant. Look, in a restaurant, you're paying for us to get things right. Are you charging your guests at home? Well, then they can deal with it, okay? You do your best effort, have a great time, and if people complain, you've invited the wrong people.
The idea behind having a home party, I think, is put the people in the foreground, put the food in the background.
Yeah, and show off if you want. And if it fails, it doesn't matter. And if you want to prepare for 3 days for that big party because that's what you enjoy, do that. And if it doesn't work, don't stress about it.
When there are certain people in the group, what will happen is that will become the only topic of the night. And if you don't want that to be the only topic of the night, then you need to avoid talking about politics.
I think the host's responsibility is to make sure that if 2 guests are making others uncomfortable, it's a host's responsibility to change the subject and to avoid that and let
you don't want is someone to unfriend someone at your party.
Yeah.
Or
to take over your party, or to turn the party into personal animus. And there are some parties we've been at where people will talk about differing ideologies. And then, number one, it can go on and get tiresome. And then it's the host's job to change the subject. Or number 2, it can go to animus, or make others who are listening uncomfortable.
The key to enjoying your own party is set up and having things that are okay to sit out for a little while, or get finished. Francis's gazpacho. Everything's all set up. You drop all the ingredients in the blender, and you pour for everybody. Okay, and understanding that cleanup comes later. That's part of it that you have to realize as well. Okay, there's a mess after a party. That's part of the deal. If you want to use real stemware and you want to use real rocks glasses and real punch bowls, there's going to be some cleanup afterwards. Have a place for the dirty stuff where it can land, and set yourself up so that everything just falls into place and you don't have a lot of physical things to do. Now, grilling steaks, you got to grill the steaks. Okay, you're gonna take 20 or 25 minutes to grill the steaks. That's the way it is. Burgers, maybe 15 minutes. But the rest of it, let it flow. You should be opening a bottle for your guests and pouring the last glass for yourself. That's what having a party at your house is. You're not waiting on the people of your house. You're having a house party where you are part of the party, and you've got to look at it that way.
Maybe you're the kind of host who likes to be in the kitchen and likes to do things for people. But realize that sometimes people are coming to actually spend time with you, and maybe, well, that's what makes you happy. They'd rather have you sitting at the table with them for a while than you in the kitchen actually making the gazpacho while they're there. Home entertaining is about making people feel happy and good and sharing your life with them. And the restaurant, at its best, only approximates that. We do better on the food and the wine and the details. But the most important thing, it's to enjoy each other, man. That's what it's about. That's what it's all about.